Shut up, you do not belong here. Officer Malik Foster's voice tears through the packed federal courtroom. His face burns red as he glares at the black woman presenting evidence at the podium. You people come in here lying about good cops, destroying families, ruining lives. His finger stabs the air toward her. The woman continues speaking calmly. Your unit shows patterns of, I said shut up. Foster charges forward at boots pounding marble. 20 phones start recording. She does not move, does not flinch, just keeps talking in that steady professional voice that drives him insane. The slap echoes like a gunshot. Her head snaps sideways. The courtroom explodes in gasps. Know your place. Foster snarls. She touches her cheek, straightens her glasses when she looks up. Her eyes are ice cold. Something shifts in her stance. Her military training kicks in. Foster has no idea what is coming next. He has no idea who he just hit. Atlanta thrums with tension this Tuesday morning outside the Atlanta Federal Courthouse. Protesters wave signs reading reform now and back. Blue inside the marble halls echo with footsteps of lawyers, activists, and reporters gathering. For what everyone knows will be explosive. Courtroom 3A sits packed to capacity. Judge Monique Carter presides over hearings that could reshape American policing forever. The air crackles with anticipation as cameras focus on the witness stand. At the podium stands Aaliyah Brooks, though most people in this room do not know her name. She wears a simple black suit, no jewelry, no badges of office. Her wire-rimmed glasses catch the light as she shuffles through manila folders, thick with evidence to everyone watching. She looks like just another expert witness. Only the judge and the courthouse security team knew she was Congresswoman Aaliyah Brooks. On the official witness sheet, at her own request, she appeared simply as Dr. A. Brooks, policy expert. She wanted the data to speak louder than her title. Her soft voice carries clearly through the courtroom microphone as she presents statistics that make seasoned officers shift uncomfortably in the past. 3 years, excessive force complaints have increased. 47% in predominantly minority neighborhoods, she says. Clicking to her next slide behind her, Officer Malik Foster stands at attention. By the courtroom side door, he was transferred here just last week from the Eastview District disciplinary action disguised as a promotion. His supervisor told him he would be providing security for another one of those police misconduct hearings. Foster did not bother reading the briefing materials. He figured it was the same old story, activists and troublemakers trying to tear down everything he had spent 15 years building at 38. Foster comes from 3 generations of cops. His grandfather walked the beat in the 1960s. His father became a detective before taking a bullet in 1995. His brother died in the line of duty just 2 years ago to Foster. The badge is not just a job, it is sacred family heritage. He watches Aaliyah Brooks with growing anger. Everything about her irritates him. Her calm demeanor, her fancy charts and graphs, the way she speaks like she knows what it is really like out there on the streets. Foster does not know that Aaliyah served 2 tours in overseas as a Marine Corps captain. He does not know she earned a Bronze Star for valor. He does not know she can disarm a man twice her size in under 4 seconds. All he sees is another privileged activist with an agenda. Aaliyah continues her presentation, unaware of Foster's growing hostility. She has dealt with hostile audiences before angry town halls, contentious committee meetings, late-night congressional sessions that stretched until dawn. This feels routine. Officer misconduct complaints show clear patterns. She explains her laser pointer highlighting key statistics. Certain units demonstrate significantly higher rates of civilian complaints, use of force incidents, and disciplinary actions. The gallery murmurs some nod in agreement. Others shake their heads in disgust. Foster's jaw tightens. His hands clench into fists. He has heard this song before. Bleeding hearts with their statistics and studies trying to destroy good men who put their lives on the line every single day. What Foster does not realize is that Aaliyah is not just presenting random statistics. Every number on her slides comes from federal investigations. Every case study represents real people whose lives were shattered by police violence, and several of those cases involve his own unit, his own actions. Judge Monique Carter watches the proceedings carefully. She has seen tensions boil over in cases like this. That is why she specifically requested additional security. That is why Officer Malik Foster stands guard, ready to maintain order if emotions run too high. Neither the judge nor anyone else in the courtroom realizes they have placed a ticking time bomb right behind the woman whose evidence is about to destroy him. Aaliyah advances to her next slide. Foster's photo appears on the screen. His official department headshot alongside a list of civilian complaints dating back 7 years. The temperature in the room seems to drop 10 degrees Celsius. The courtroom holds its breath as Aaliyah clicks to her next slide. Foster's official police photograph fills the screen. His dress blue's confident smile, 7 years of civilian complaints scrolling below. Study 12 involves Officer Malik Foster, Eastview District, Aaliyah announces calmly. Foster's face burns red. Every person in that packed courtroom stares at his photo while she reads his dirty laundry, excessive force complaint. March 2019, racial profiling. June 2019, unauthorized arrest. September 2020. That is not true. Foster mutters loud enough for others to hear. Judge Monique Carter's gavel taps. Officer, maintain silence. Aaliyah Brooks clicks to video footage. Grainy body cam shows Malik Foster yanking a black teenager from a car during a traffic stop. The kid's hands are raised. Terrified, Foster slams him against the vehicle anyway. The gallery gasps. Suspect sustains broken wrist, facial lacerations. No weapons found, no drugs, no warrants. Aaliyah states, matter-of-factly, Foster's hands shake with rage. She is making him look like a monster. She was not there. Another video plays. Foster shouting at a Hispanic woman during a domestic call. When she does not understand English fast enough, he grabs her arm roughly. Ma'am, when an officer gives orders, you follow immediately, his recorded voice echoes. The woman cries, trying to explain. Foster is not listening. Judge Monique Carter frowns. The gallery shifts uncomfortably. Foster steps forward. Your Honor. She is taking everything out of context. Officer Malik. Foster, return to your post. Do not interrupt again. Aaliyah glances at him for the first time. Their eyes meet across the marble floor. She sees a man on the edge. He sees an enemy destroying his life. Aaliyah turns back to her microphone. The pattern continues through 17 documented incidents. Foster's radio crackles with his supervisor's warning to stay in position. But Foster is not listening anymore. All he hears is his reputation dying. One statistic at a time, day. 2 arrives with Foster seething over his public humiliation. That woman destroyed his reputation in front of cameras, colleagues, and complete strangers. He needs answers during his lunch break. Foster corners Officer Jamal Reed from courthouse security. Who is that woman testifying about police misconduct? Jamal shrugs. Some expert witness. Why she had access to my internal files. My body cam footage. How does some activist get federal investigation materials? Maybe she is connected. Jamal suggests you know how these hearings work. They bring in professors, researchers, and people with credentials. Foster nods, satisfied with that explanation in his mind. Aaliyah represents the liberal, elite, privileged academics who have never walked a real beat, but think they understand police work. He spends his evening researching online. He finds a few articles mentioning police reform expert Aaliyah Brooks, but focuses only on comment sections, calling her anti-cop. And radical Foster never notices the small print, identifying her as Congresswoman. Aaliyah. His rage filters out anything that does not confirm his assumptions. Day 3 brings fresh hell. Aaliyah presents audio recordings from police radio chatter. Foster's voice crackles through courtroom speakers during a robbery response last year. Units responding to armed robbery suspects described as 3 black males, early 20s. Normal so far. Then, Aaliyah plays the unedited version, units responding 3 black males. Usual suspects doing usual, suspect things. Malik Foster's recorded voice continues with obvious disdain. The courtroom tenses, Foster's casual racism broadcast in high definition. Aaliyah Brooks moves to another recording, Foster and his partner discussing a traffic stop. Another one driving, while Black Foster's voice laughs. Let us see what we can find. Gallery members gasp. Some shake their heads in disgust. Foster's face turns purple. These recordings were supposed to be confidential. How does this woman have access to internal police communications? Judge Monique Carter maintains stern order. But her disapproval shows clearly, Your Honor. Foster interrupts again. Those recordings are taken completely out of context. Officer Malik Foster, final warning. One more outburst and you will be removed from this courtroom. Aaliyah does not even look at him. She advances to her next exhibit with professional calm that drives Foster insane. Day 4. Escalates further. Aaliyah presents systematic analysis showing Foster's unit targeting minority neighborhoods at rates 312% above district average. Her charts show arrest patterns, complaint ratios, use of force, statistics. Every number damps Foster's unit deeper. Statistical analysis reveals clear bias in enforcement patterns. Aaliyah explains traffic stops in predominantly black neighborhoods occur at rates dramatically exceeding population demographics. Foster cannot stay quiet. That is because that is where the crime is. Judge Monique Carter slams her gavel. Officer Malik Foster, you are out of order. She is twisting statistics to fit her agenda, Foster shouts back. Bailiff, escort Officer Malik Foster from my courtroom. 2 court officers move toward Foster, but he raises his hands. I will control myself, Your Honor. Please. Judge Monique Carter studies him carefully. Last chance, officer. One more disruption, and you are banned from these proceedings. Foster returns to his post, burning with humiliation. This unknown woman is systematically destroying everything. He has worked for his reputation, his unit's reputation, his entire worldview. Aaliyah continues her presentation as if nothing happened. That calm professionalism enrages Foster. More than shouting would. Day 5 brings the nuclear option. Aaliyah presents video. Evidence of Foster planting evidence during a drug arrest. The body cam footage is crystal clear. Foster approaches a suspect's car during a traffic stop. He reaches into his own pocket, pulls out a small baggie, and drops it onto the passenger seat. Suspect? What is this? His recorded voice asks, pointing at the planted drugs. The courtroom erupts. Gallery members shout in outrage. Reporters frantically scribble notes. Foster watches his career end in real time. That arrest sent a man to prison for 3 years. That man had children, a family, a life. Foster destroyed with planted evidence. Judge Monique Carter pounds her gavel repeatedly. Order, order in this courtroom. Malik Foster's vision blurs with rage. This woman has access to everything. Every mistake, every shortcut, every moment of weakness in his 15-year career. Aaliyah Brooks advances to her final slide. Pattern analysis indicates systematic misconduct across multiple incident categories. These 17 cases represent documented violations of citizens' constitutional rights. Foster cannot breathe. She is calling him a criminal, corrupt cop who violated his oath and destroyed innocent lives. His radio crackles. Foster, maintain position. Do not engage. But Foster is past the point of following orders. This woman has painted him as everything he swore he would never become. She has made him the villain in his own story. Aaliyah checks her notes, preparing for her concluding statement. Foster watches from across the room, his hands clenched into fists. Tomorrow she will deliver final recommendations that could end not just his career, but careers of good officers across the entire department. He will not let that happen. Late Tuesday night. Aaliyah sits in her hotel room, reviewing tomorrow's presentation, her chief of staff. Tiana Roberts calls from Atlanta. Aaliyah, that officer is losing it. Security footage shows him pacing, talking to himself. Maybe you should reveal your congressional status before things escalate. Aaliyah removes her glasses. Rubbing tired eyes. He does not know who I am. Tiana? That is exactly why this evidence is so powerful. He is reacting to facts, not politics, but what if he snaps? Aaliyah walks to her window, watching Atlanta lights twinkle. Below her, military training taught her to recognize enemy behavior patterns. Foster exhibits classic signs of a man approaching complete breakdown. Then everyone sees what happens when officers think they can intimidate regular citizens without consequences, she says quietly. You are not a regular citizen, Aaliyah. You are a member of Congress, but he does not know that to him, I am just another black woman challenging his authority tomorrow. I present my most damaging evidence, the systematic pattern that proves his unit deliberately targets minorities. Tiana's voice tightens with concern that will push him over the edge. Aaliyah nods to her reflection in the hotel window. Exactly. My overseas experience taught me that sometimes the best strategy is letting your enemy defeat themselves. She opens her laptop, reviewing security protocols for federal courtrooms. If Foster loses control, she wants maximum witnesses and complete documentation. Tiana makes sure all major networks have camera crews tomorrow. I want everything recorded. Aaliyah, you are playing with fire. Aaliyah closes her laptop with quiet determination. I am ending this the right way. When Malik Foster shows his true nature, the world will understand why we need police reform. Her phone buzzes with a text from her teenage daughter, Naomi Brooks. Mom, be careful tomorrow. I saw the news coverage. Aaliyah smiles, typing back. Do not worry, sweetheart. Mom knows how to handle bullies. She does not mention that Foster outweighs her by 80 pounds and carries a service weapon. She does not mention that her martial art training has not been tested in real combat for 3 years. Tomorrow she will find out if preparation trumps desperation. Wednesday morning arrives with tension thick enough to cut the courthouse steps, swarm with reporters, protesters, and curious onlookers. Inside courtroom 3A, fills beyond capacity. Every seat taken, people standing along walls. Cameras positioned for maximum coverage. Judge Monique Carter calls the session to order. Miss Aaliyah Brooks, please proceed with your concluding presentation. Aaliyah approaches the podium. Carrying a thick manila folder, she adjusts her microphone, glances briefly at Malik Foster standing rigid by the side door. Then begins, Your Honor, today, I present comprehensive analysis demonstrating systematic misconduct patterns that demand immediate intervention. Foster's jaw clenches. Here comes the final character assassination. Aaliyah clicks to her first slide. Statistical analysis reveals targeting patterns that violate constitutional. Equal protection guarantees her laser pointer. Highlights neighborhood maps, color-coded by enforcement activity. Deep red zones correspond exactly with minority population concentrations. Officer Malik Foster's unit conducted traffic stops in these areas at rates exceeding 355% of demographic justification. Translation, they deliberately hunted in black neighborhoods. Foster steps forward involuntarily. That is not hunting. That is responding to crime patterns. Judge Monique Carter's gavel cracks. Officer Malik Foster, final warning. Aaliyah continues without acknowledging the interruption. Arrest to conviction ratios. Tell the real story. Foster's unit 39% conviction rate department, average 72%. This suggests arrests based on bias, rather than evidence. She advances to video compilation. Footage Exhibit 23 Pattern Behavior Analysis. The screen fills with clips of Malik Foster during various arrests, all showing the same aggressive approach. All involving minorities, all demonstrating unnecessary force escalation in one clip. Foster yanks an elderly black man from his car during a broken taillight stop. The man moves slowly, due to arthritis. Foster interprets this as resistance, sir. When I say move, you move, Fosters? You move. Recorded voice shouts. "Officer, I am trying my joints. I do not want to hear excuses." The elderly man stumbles. Foster grabs his arm roughly, spinning him against the vehicle gallery. Members gasp in horror. This is not law enforcement. This is abuse of power. Foster's face burns with shame and rage. She is cherry-picking his worst moments, ignoring context, making him look like a monster. Aaliyah advances to her most damaging evidence exhibit. 24 represents the most serious violation in our case study. A new video begins playing crystal clear body cam footage from 8 months ago. Malik Foster approaches a young black father during a traffic stop. The man sits calmly in his vehicle, hands visible on the steering wheel, following perfect compliance protocol, license, and registration. Foster demands, "Yes, sir." Reaching for my glove compartment, now the driver moves slowly, telegraphing every motion, but as Foster walks around the vehicle's passenger side, the camera catches something horrifying. Foster reaches into his own pocket, pulls out a small plastic baggie of white powder, and drops it onto the passenger seat. The courtroom explodes. "What the hell is this?" Foster's recorded voice asks, pointing at the planted evidence officer. "I do not know what that is. I have never seen that before." "Step out of the vehicle. You are under arrest for possession of cocaine." The video continues, showing Foster handcuffing the terrified father, while his 3-year-old daughter screams from her car seat. Gallery members shout in outrage, "Monster! Corrupt cop! How many others?" Judge Monique Carter pounds her gavel repeatedly. Order, order in this courtroom. Foster watches his world collapse in high definition. That arrest destroyed a family. The father lost his job, his apartment, his custody rights, all because Foster needed to boost his drug arrest. Statistics, Aaliyah Brooks lets the video impact sink in before speaking it again. This fabricated arrest sent an innocent man to prison for 18 months. His daughter grew up without her father because Officer Malik Foster planted evidence. Foster cannot breathe. The walls close, and every face in that courtroom looks at him with disgust and hatred. "Your Honor." "She is lying," he shouts desperately. "That video is edited. It is fake news. Officer Malik Foster, you are out of order. She is destroying innocent officers with doctored evidence." Aaliyah turns, slightly making eye contact with Foster. For the second time, her voice remains professionally calm. Officer Federal Forensic Analysis confirms video authenticity. No editing, no manipulation. Foster's mind snaps. This woman has systematically destroyed his reputation, his career, his entire identity. She has made him the poster child for everything wrong with American policing. "You do not know what you are talking about." Foster roars, abandoning his post, his heavy boots. Thunder on marble as he storms toward the podium. 20 phones start recording news cameras, swivel to follow his approach. "You activists come in here with your lists and statistics, trying to destroy good men who risk their lives every day." Aaliyah does not move, does not step back, does not show fear. "You have never walked a beat, never faced down a gang member, never held a dying partner." Foster's voice cracks with emotion and rage. He reaches the podium in 5 quick strides. Aaliyah continues speaking into her microphone with unshakable composure. Pattern analysis indicates systematic targeting of minority communities. Through "Shut up," Malik Foster's hand flies across her face. With the sound of a thunderclap, the slap echoes through absolute silence. Her head snaps sideways. Her glasses fly off, clattering on marble. "Know your place and keep your mouth shut. You lying, explicit content." Removed time freezes. Every camera captures the moment. Every witness holds their breath. "Aaliyah." Brooks touches her stinging cheek. She bends calmly to retrieve her glasses. Never breaking eye contact with Malik Foster, when she straightens, something has changed in her posture. Her shoulders square. Her stance widens slightly. Military bearing replaces academic demeanor. Foster raises his hand for a second blow. Aaliyah moves 3 seconds of precision. Violence unfold in slow motion. Second 1. Aaliyah catches Foster's descending wrist with her left hand, stopping his swing mid-arc. Second 2. She steps inside his reach and drives her right palm upward into his solar plexus. The strike hits with surgical accuracy, disrupting his diaphragm and short-circuiting his nervous system. Second 3. As Foster doubles over, gasping, Aaliyah follows with an upward elbow strike to his jaw. The impact snaps his head back and switches off his consciousness like a light bulb. Foster drops like a felled tree. His 210 slab frame hits marble with a sickening thud. The courtroom erupts in chaos. People scream, cameras flash. Judge Monique Carter's gavel pounds uselessly. Aaliyah calmly adjusts her glasses and returns to the microphone. As I was saying, Your Honor, systematic misconduct requires systematic reform. Foster lies motionless on cold marble, his career ending where his arrogance began. The viral video explodes across social media within minutes. Congresswoman knockout trends worldwide. The 3-second clip of Aaliyah destroying Foster gets 60 million views in 6 hours. But the celebration does not last long. Thursday morning brings federal charges against Aaliyah that shock everyone: assault and battery on a police officer. Assault on a federal employee disturbing the peace in a federal courthouse. Each charge carries potential prison time. The legal trap springs with devastating precision. District Attorney Marcus Bennett, an ambitious prosecutor with political aspirations, holds a press conference outside the courthouse. News crews pack the steps where protesters gathered just days before Congresswoman Aaliyah may claim self-defense. But the evidence tells a different story. Marcus Bennett announces to rolling cameras she used military-level violence against Officer Malik Foster, who was attempting to maintain courtroom order. Marcus Bennett plays the viral video in slow motion, frame by frame. Officer Malik Foster placed his hand on Miss Aaliyah Brooks's shoulder, a standard restraint technique. Her response was immediate, brutal, and excessive. He pauses the video at the moment of impact. Malik Foster's unconscious body frozen, mid-fall. Ladies and gentlemen, Congresswoman Aaliyah Brooks's hands are registered as deadly weapons due to her military training. She chose violence when de-escalation was possible. The media narrative shifts overnight. Conservative outlets seize the prosecutorial momentum. Violent Congresswoman attacks officer doing his job. Military training makes politicians' response disproportionate. Should elected officials be allowed to assault law enforcement? Aaliyah finds herself isolated as colleagues distance themselves from controversy. Congressional leadership suggests she step back from the police reform bill pending legal resolution. Her approval ratings plummet from 74% to 31% in 3 days. Meanwhile, Malik Foster transforms from villain to victim with masterful public relations. He appears on news shows wearing a neck brace and speaking with a slight slur that medical experts privately call performance symptoms. I was just trying to restore order in that courtroom. Malik Foster tells sympathetic interviewers, yes, I touched her shoulder gently to guide her back to appropriate behavior. Her response was like being hit by a professional fighter. The neck brace becomes his prop. The bandaged forehead adds visual sympathy. Foster's lawyers coach him on victim language and traumatic stress responses. I have children, you know. Foster continues, his voice breaking slightly. They saw their father knocked unconscious on national television by someone who is supposed to represent justice and fairness. Public opinion splits dangerously. Justice for Foster battles. Stand with Aaliyah. Across social media platforms, police unions rally around Foster as a symbol of officers under attack. They organize protests outside Aaliyah's district office, demanding her resignation first. They attack our budgets, then our reputations. Now they are physically assaulting officers, declares Police Union President Derek Coleman. Congresswoman Aaliyah Brooks represents everything wrong with anti-police sentiment in America. Marcus Bennett builds his case methodically. Medical experts testify about Foster's injuries: mild concussion, whiplash, potential long-term cognitive effects. The prosecution argues Aaliyah's military training obligated her to show restraint. She could have called for help. Marcus Bennett argues in pre-trial hearings she could have stepped away. She could have used verbal de-escalation. Instead, she chose to deploy lethal force against a police officer. Defense attorneys line up to represent Aaliyah, but she makes a stunning decision that shocks everyone. She will defend herself. Tiana Roberts pleads with her during a strategy session in Aaliyah's congressional office. "Aaliyah, you cannot. This is not a political hearing. This is a criminal court. They want to put you in prison." Aaliyah sits calmly behind her desk, reviewing case law. "Tiana, I spent my military career defending constitutional principles. I will not hide behind expensive lawyers when those same principles are under attack. But you could lose everything. I could lose everything by staying silent, too." Aaliyah closes her law books with quiet determination. "If I let them criminalize self-defense, every woman who fights back becomes a potential felon." The pretrial discovery process reveals the case's true nature. Aaliyah Brooks's legal team uncovers evidence. Marcus Bennett tried to suppress Malik Foster's complete disciplinary record, 47 excessive force complaints over 15 years internal affairs, investigations that were mysteriously closed without action, settlement payments totaling $1.4 million to Foster's victims. Over the past decade, social media posts where Foster called Aaliyah a lying activist and promised to handle the situation. Audio recordings of Foster telling fellow officers he planned to shut down Aaliyah's presentation medical records, showing Foster's severe injuries required no prescription medication stronger than aspirin. But Marcus Bennett fights to exclude most of this evidence, arguing it is irrelevant to the specific incident in question. "Your Honor, Officer Malik Foster's past conduct does not justify Congresswoman Aaliyah Brooks's violent response." Marcus Bennett argues during motion hearings she did not know about prior complaints when she chose to assault him. Judge Monique Carter, the same judge who witnessed the original incident, finds herself in an impossible position. The case has become a referendum on police accountability, women's rights, and political power outside the courthouse. The battle lines are drawn. Supporters rally behind both sides. Aaliyah's defenders argue she stood up to a corrupt system. Foster supporters claim she represents dangerous anti-police sentiment. The trial date approaches with the weight of national attention. Aaliyah faces 5 years in federal prison if convicted on all charges. Marcus Bennett believes he has an unwinnable case. Video evidence shows clear assault. Aaliyah used disproportionate force. The law seems straightforward, but he does not know about Aaliyah's secret weapon. The truth about what really happened in that courtroom and why Malik Foster attacked her in the first place. The discovery that will change everything sits in federal investigation files that Marcus Bennett never bothered to read. Completely, Aaliyah has been preparing for this battle her entire adult life, first as a Marine, then as a Congresswoman. Now she will find out if justice really is blind or if it just looks the other way, when convenient. The federal courthouse transforms into a media circus as United States versus Aaliyah Brooks begins. Every major network positions. Cameras outside protesters line the streets with competing signs. Justice for Aaliyah and cops' lives matter inside courtroom 3A. The same room where everything started. Jury selection reveals America's deep divisions. 12 citizens, 8 women, 4 men, 6 white, 4 black, 2. Hispanic will decide whether self-defense or assault occurred that day. District Attorney Marcus Bennett presents his opening statement with prosecutorial confidence. Ladies and gentlemen, the evidence is simple. Congresswoman Aaliyah Brooks used deadly force against Officer Malik Foster. The law is clear. Her response was excessive, disproportionate, and criminal. He plays the viral video one more time. Foster's unconscious body hitting marble echoes through speakers. 3 seconds of violence that could have been avoided if she had simply asked for help instead of choosing assault. Aaliyah Brooks rises for her opening statement. No legal team surrounds her, no expensive, no. Consultants whisper strategy. She stands alone behind the defense table, members of the jury. I will prove that I used minimum necessary force to stop an ongoing assault. But more importantly, I will show you why Officer Malik Foster attacked me. and why this case represents everything wrong with accountability in law enforcement. The prosecution calls Malik Foster as their star witness. He approaches the stand wearing his dress uniform, moving slightly slower than necessary. The neck brace is gone, but he occasionally touches his jaw as if pain lingers. Marcus Bennett guides Foster through sympathetic testimony. Officer Malik Foster, please tell the jury what happened that day. Foster's voice carries carefully rehearsed emotion. I was providing security when the witness began disrupting court proceedings with inflammatory statements about police officers. When I attempted to maintain order, she immediately attacked me with military-level violence. How did you attempt to maintain order? I placed my hand gently on her shoulder to guide her away from the microphone's standard crowd control technique. Nothing aggressive. Marcus. Bennett nods sympathetically. What happened next? She grabbed my wrist and started hitting me. Everything went black after that. Next thing I remember, I was waking up on the floor with paramedics, checking my pulse. The prosecution's medical expert testifies about Foster's injuries: mild concussion, whiplash, possible long-term cognitive effects from the assault. Marcus Bennett builds his case methodically. Aaliyah used excessive force. Her military training made her dangerous. Foster was just doing his job then. Aaliyah begins her cross-examination of Foster. She approaches the witness stand with quiet intensity. Carrying a thick folder of documents, her voice remains professionally calm, but something predatory lurks beneath the surface. Officer Malik Foster, you testified that you gently touched my shoulder. Let us examine that claim. Aaliyah activates the courtroom's video system. The viral footage appears on screens throughout the room. Officer Malik Foster, does this look gentle to you? The video plays in slow motion. Foster's open palm striking Aaliyah's face with obvious force. The crack of impact echoes through speakers. Foster shifts uncomfortably. The camera angle is misleading, I see. So you are claiming this video is inaccurate. Camera angles can be deceptive. Aaliyah advances to her next line of attack. Officer Malik Foster, how many excessive force complaints have you received in your 15-year career? Marcus Bennett objects. Relevance, Your Honor. I will allow it. Judge Monique Carter rules. Foster hesitates a few. It comes with the job a few. Let us be specific, Aaliyah. Brooks opens her folder. 47 complaints. Is that not correct? Objection overruled. Answer the question. Officer Malik Foster. Foster's confident demeanor cracks slightly. Yes, but most were unfounded. Most according to internal affairs records. How many resulted in disciplinary action? Foster's lawyer whispers urgently. But Aaliyah continues relentlessly. 12 sustained complaints. Officer Malik Foster, 12 times your department found you guilty of misconduct. Yet, you remained on active duty. Why? Marcus Bennett objects repeatedly. But the damage accumulates. Aaliyah systematically dismantles Foster's credibility. With his own recorded actions, she presents audio recordings of Malik Foster using racial slurs during arrests, video footage of him planting evidence, witness testimony about his threatening behavior toward civilians. Officer Malik Foster on March 15, 2021. 1. You told Officer Jamal Reed, and I quote, "Sometimes these people need to be reminded who is really in charge." What did you mean by these people? Foster's composure completely collapses. I meant criminals, people who do not respect authority. You meant black people, did you not? No, that is not what I meant. Aaliyah plays another recording. Malik Foster's voice fills the courtroom, another driving while. Black situation. Let us see what we can pin on this one. The jury watches Foster's face turn red with embarrassment and rage. Officer Malik Foster, is it not true that you attacked me because you could not tolerate a black woman presenting evidence of your misconduct? That is not true. Is it not true that you never bothered to learn my identity? Because you assumed I was just another troublemaker, you could intimidate. Foster explodes exactly as Aaliyah predicted. You people always play the race card. You got your position because of affirmative action, not because you earned it. The courtroom gasps. Marcus. Bennett buries his head in his hands. Foster's mask finally falls completely. Aaliyah remains ice-cold, calm. Thank you, Officer Malik. Foster, no further questions. Aaliyah. Brooks takes the stand in her own defense. She speaks directly to the jury with quiet authority, members of the jury. I served 2 tours in overseas defending American principles. I have faced enemy fire, improvised explosives, and life. Threatening situations most people cannot imagine. She pauses, making eye contact with each juror. Officer Malik Foster slapped me because he thought I was powerless. He thought he could silence me with violence because I appeared to be just another black woman. He could intimidate Aaliyah, describes her military training in precise detail. Martial art teaches proportional response. I could have broken Officer Malik Foster's neck. I could have crushed his windpipe. I could have inflicted permanent damage. She demonstrates the movements in slow motion, showing the jury exactly how controlled her response was. Instead, I used the minimum force necessary to stop his assault. 3 strikes: block, disable, neutralize, textbook defensive technique. Marcus Bennett's cross-examination fails miserably. Aaliyah answers every question with calm precision, never losing composure despite aggressive questioning. The closing arguments reveal the case's true stakes. Marcus Bennett makes a final plea. Congresswoman Aaliyah, Brooks chose violence. When other options existed, the law applies equally to everyone. Regardless of political position, Aaliyah Brooks addresses the jury one last time. Officer Malik Foster represents a system that believes some people can be assaulted without consequences. Today you decide whether that system is right. Jury deliberation lasts 4 hours and 17 minutes. When they return, the foreman stands on the charge of assault and battery. We find the defendant not guilty. The courtroom erupts in celebration. Aaliyah maintains her composure, but tears glisten in her eyes. Justice has been served, but the real victory is just beginning. The courthouse steps explode into celebration as Aaliyah emerges victorious. Supporters lift signs reading, "Justice served and self-defense is not a crime." Cameras capture every moment as she addresses the crowd with quiet dignity. Today proves that no one, regardless of their badge or position, is above the law. Aaliyah declares, and no one, regardless of their race or gender, is below its protection. The crowd roars approval chants of Aaliyah. Aaliyah echo off federal building walls. Foster's downfall accelerates rapidly. Within hours of the verdict, the Atlanta Metro Police Department fires him for conduct. Unbecoming an officer, his union, embarrassed by his racist courtroom outburst, withdraws all support. Federal prosecutors file civil rights violation charges based on his recorded statements and planted evidence. The FBI opens investigations into every arrest Malik Foster made over 15 years. Dozens of wrongfully convicted victims line up with lawyers demanding justice. Foster's personal life crumbles simultaneously. His wife files for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences and public humiliation. His children refuse to contact, ashamed to share his name. The family home goes into foreclosure. As legal bills mount, his pension disappears. Due to felony conviction, job applications get rejected the moment employers Google his name. The viral video of his knockout follows him everywhere, a permanent reminder of consequences. Meanwhile, Aaliyah Brooks experiences complete vindication on every front. Her approval ratings skyrocket to 88%, the highest for any freshman congresswoman in decades. Congressional leadership apologizes for distancing themselves and fast-tracks her police reform legislation. The Brooks Accountability Act passes both houses with overwhelming bipartisan support. House vote 3011152, Senate vote 6931. The President. Calvin Walker signs it in a Piedmont Park ceremony. With Aaliyah at his side, the legislation revolutionizes American policing. Overnight body cameras become mandatory for all federal law enforcement. Independent oversight boards gain subpoena power. Officers with excessive force complaints face automatic review. Aaliyah's story spreads globally, inspiring similar reforms worldwide. The Aaliyah standard becomes international shorthand for proportional self-defense against authority figures who abuse their power. Stand Up Like Aaliyah trends across social media platforms as millions share stories of standing up to bullies. Self-defense academies report 20%. Enrollment increases, particularly among women of color. The viral video takes on mythical status, 3 seconds of precision that changed everything. Military academies study Aaliyah's technique. Diplomatic training programs use her composure under pressure as a case study. Personal transformation follows professional vindication. Aaliyah receives thousands of marriage proposals from admirers worldwide, but chooses to remarry quietly. A fellow veteran who respects her independence and strength, her teenage daughter, Naomi Brooks, inspired by her mother's courage, receives an appointment to the academy. I want to serve like Mom did, she tells reporters. But maybe I will become president instead of congresswoman. Aaliyah keeps a photo of Malik Foster's arrest on her congressional office desk. Not for revenge, but as a reminder that preparation prevents problems. When visitors ask about it, she simply says, "That is what happens when you assume you know who you are dealing with." 6 months later, documented changes reshape American law enforcement. Police misconduct complaints drop 71% in major cities as officers realize actions have consequences. Federal courthouse incidents decrease 82% as security personnel receive proper training. Government official harassment reports fall 45%. As potential attackers think twice, the ripple effects continue expanding. International security agencies study the Eastview Protocol, what not to do when confronting unknown individuals. Diplomatic corps report 92% reduction in mistaken identity incidents. Malik Foster serves his federal sentence in minimum security prison, occasionally seeing his viral knockout on television. Fellow inmates call it the slap heard around the world. He finally understands what his ignorance cost him. Aaliyah's legacy grows beyond single legislation. She becomes the quiet congresswoman who lets her actions speak louder than words. Her military bearing and unshakable composure under pressure inspire millions. The lesson resonates worldwide. Sometimes the biggest mistakes come from assuming you know who you are dealing with. And sometimes the biggest victories come from showing exactly who you are when tested. Statistical revolution confirms lasting change. Security protocol compliance up 97%. Self-defense training enrollment sustained 360% increase. Federal workplace incidents down 82%. Cross-agency coordination improvement is 67%. Aaliyah walks through Atlanta with new respect from colleagues who witnessed her grace under fire. She wears a small congressional pin, now not for protection, but to help others do their jobs properly. But the story's impact reaches far beyond one courthouse, one cop, or even one congresswoman. It proves that courage, preparation, and composure can change the world. When someone finally says enough, 2 years later, the anniversary of the slap that changed everything becomes National Recognition Day, celebrating the importance of knowing who you serve and protect before making assumptions. The Eastview Protocol, named ironically after the officer whose ignorance sparked worldwide reform, revolutionizes security training globally. Federal buildings from Atlanta to Tokyo implement verify before confront procedures. Diplomatic incidents drop 92% as officials properly identify visitors before challenging them. Aaliyah Brooks chairs the House Judiciary Subcommittee on Civil Rights, having authored 23 pieces of landmark legislation. Nobel Peace Prize nomination arrives for her criminal justice reform work. Time magazine names her Person of the Decade for reshaping American policing. Through 3 seconds of courage, the viral video continues generating 15,000 daily views across platforms studied in self-defense classes worldwide, analyzed in diplomatic training seminars, mimed into dozens of languages. It symbolizes consequences for willful ignorance and the power of preparation over assumption. Educational revolution spreads globally. Brooks Leadership Institutes operate in 31 cities, teaching situational awareness and constitutional civics. Military academies include her case study and command training. Corporate America adopts verification before confrontation. Policy's international impact stories flood social media. Tokyo security guards prevent diplomatic incidents by properly identifying visiting congressmen before challenging suspicious behavior. A London police officer credits Aaliyah's story for making him verify credentials before confronting civilians who turned out to be undercover MI5. Berlin government buildings adopt foster prevention protocols. Verify before confronting becomes a global hashtag with 3.1 million posts. Government workers worldwide wear better identification. Security forces implement assumption audits, examining bias and threat assessment. Malik Foster serves year 4 of federal sentence working in the prison library, helping inmates with legal research. Divorced, minimal contact with children who change their surnames. Occasional interviews where he admits, "I destroyed my life because I chose not to learn who I was supposed to protect." His story becomes a cautionary tale taught in police academies. What happens when officers let prejudice override procedure, personal transformation stories inspire millions? Maria, 28. Watching Aaliyah stay calm under attack taught me to control my reactions during crisis situations. David, 35, security guard, who credits training from Aaliyah's case with preventing workplace violence through proper identification procedures. Ashley, 19, academy cadet, inspired by Aaliyah's military bearing under pressure. Statistical revolution continues. 2 years later, government official harassment down. 71% mistaken identity confrontations down. 84% security protocol compliance up. 97% federal workplace incidents down. 81% MITM. Aaliyah's approval rating holds steady at 79%. Presidential speculation grows as colleagues recognize her unique combination of military experience, legislative skill, and proven grace under fire. She still rides Metro to work now, with discreet security. Her daughter graduated valedictorian, heading to the academy following maternal footsteps. Aaliyah Brooks keeps an updated photo of Malik Foster in prison uniform, a reminder that choices have lasting consequences. The continuing legacy. Aaliyah's calm response becomes a textbook example of leadership under pressure, studied by everyone from diplomats to CEOs to parents. Teaching children about conflict resolution, her quiet strength proves that sometimes the most powerful response to aggression is controlled precision rather than escalated violence. Call to action. The story of Aaliyah Brooks proves that sometimes life's most important moments come when we are tested by people who completely underestimate us. Have you ever watched someone's assumptions destroy their entire future in real time? Share this story if you believe in the power of staying calm under pressure and letting your actions speak louder than your words. Hit that subscribe button for more incredible stories of ordinary people who became extraordinary by refusing to let others define their limits. Most importantly, when was the last time you verified who you were dealing with before making dangerous assumptions? Share your story about the importance of proper preparation. In the comments below, let us build a community that chooses verification over assumption. Remember, in a world full of Malik Fosters making assumptions, be an Aaliyah prepared professional and powerful. When it matters most, your moment might be just one confrontation away. What is your moment of standing up to someone who underestimated you? Tell us below. Images of security personnel worldwide properly checking credentials, women in self-defense classes. Aaliyah, continuing congressional work with quiet confidence, and the viral video playing on screens globally. 3 seconds that changed everything. Malik Foster learned too late that assumptions can destroy everything you have built. Aaliyah Brooks proved that preparation and composure can change everything you want to build. The choice is always yours. Subscribe button, related videos about assumption, checking, and preparation.